Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never, ever, ever alone. And here on Invisible Condition, okay, we get it. We know life can be tough, right? We also know that there is always hope. Always hope. And we talk about that a lot on the show. And so I want to make sure we say it up front. We know there's hope. And so I want to talk about two things real quick before, by the way, Michal LeBaron is here again today. Yay. So we're going to have her on the show. We're going to tackle another really cool topic that's going to blow your mind. And before she comes on, I want to talk to you about Hydro with Hope, which is the nonprofit arm of Invisible Condition. And that is a nonprofit that addresses a condition that I was born with called hydrocephalus. And hydrocephalus requires brain surgery most often. And in my lifetime, I've had 7 so far. And a lot of people have had a lot more. Some have had less. It just depends on who you are. But, typically, the life of somebody with hydrocephalus involves brain surgery. And so Hydro with Hope is there to help. And we help primarily through, I'm happy to talk to anybody that has questions. There is a way to do that on the website on hydrowithhope.com. Also, we have a resource called My Hydro Warrior Story, which is a book that's it's a journal, really. It's a fill-in-the-blank journal that walks people through that whole experience of, holy smokes, I have what we're going to have to do, what kind of surgery, and how's that going to work, and how do I fit that into my life? That's what the journal's for. So the thing is, we have a lot more to do than we have funding to do it with. And so I am actively seeking people that can help us expand our board, more specifically, our board of directors. And so I want to expand that board so that we will have more boots on the ground working to fundraise so that we can get these journals into the hands of more people that want them. So if you are somebody that would like to help with that, I have an email that I would love to show you. There it is. Send me an email and let me know if you're interested. And also, I'd love to talk to anybody that would like to get the word out about their company or their business or their organization on our show. We have lots of eyeballs watching, and I'd love for your business to benefit from that. And so send me an email. Let me know. I'll send you my calendar and we can talk about it. So, all right, let's bring Michal on and get this show on the road here. We got another cool topic today. There she is.
Hi.
Hello, Michal.
Hello. Thank you for having me back. I always enjoy our time.
Oh, my pleasure. This is always good, man. It's always good. And I'm so glad that who knew in December of 2023 when we met, we met at a conference, right? We were both speaking at the thing. And then Catherine tracked you down and we talked your ear off for a while, and the rest is history, really.
Yep.
But it's so crazy how those kind of connections are made, and it's so cool. But
it is cool.
But tell everybody a little bit about who you are real quick, and then what are we going to talk about today?
Yep. So I am Michal LeBaron, and we have lots of shows together. But if you're new, I'm a functional medicine practitioner that no longer really does functional medicine. And I'm a lot of other things. I have a master's in holistic nutrition. I have dozens of certifications in different techniques, modalities, processes, programs, protocols, all the things. And so, none of that stuff got me fully healthy. And I don't even think I knew or believed it was possible to be fully healthy. I thought that my autoimmune conditions, genetic disorders, environmental illnesses, all those things were lifelong, and that the best that I could do was manage them, right? So I was looking to tools, modalities, techniques, protocols, supplements, all the things, chiropractors, body work, acupuncture, you name it, over 100 things to manage those symptoms. And I found a lot of relief in doing the natural stuff and a holistic approach. However, at the end of the day, I was gluten-free, dairy-free, corn-free, soy-free, right? And I was taking tons of herbs, and I was spending lots of money on chiropractic all the time because my body couldn't stay in alignment, and I had the special purified water and all the things. And so I hear this a lot with people of, oh no, I feel so good now. But it's like, if I do my thing and if I avoid that and if I micromanage this and, oh no, I still have headaches. They're just not what they were. You know, it's like when you really start talking about it, all of the confessions start coming out. And this is not what healthy is. So when I say I'm fully healthy, it means there's no sign of an autoimmune disease. My lab tests are totally normal and have been for years. No sign of my genetic disorder that's shown up in my test ever since I was a baby. I can eat all foods, some of which I had anaphylactic reactions towards for a long time. And I don't need supplements. I'm not on meds. I'm not going to the chiropractor yet. I can drink real water if I want to, right? I can just be a water snob because I want to, not because I have to. You know, it's these things. I can be healthy because I care, and I can be environmentally friendly because I care, but not because if I get a crumb of gluten, I'm going to be flared up for an entire month with severe nerve pain and vertigo or whatever, right? So, you know, this is what's possible for people. And I think now it's really about just sharing and teaching that there is another way. And so my journey to fully healthy really came through understanding and learning about the nervous system and how to get my body in a regulated state all the time, which again, I think we think that's impossible. Aren't we all stressed out? Well, no, it's actually possible to be regulated and live in a regulated state. And really it only took 3 months before I was consistently in a regulated state. And my body was healed of the chronic issues. So that's what we see is that on average, it's really about 3 to 5 months for your body to turn off the fight or flight system and turn on the cellular regeneration system, and for the body to heal itself and produce all the growth hormones and all the stem cells and all your body's own medicine, that it knows exactly what medicine it needs and where the medicine needs to go for that process to work. So we love setting people free from the regular medical system, right? Stuck in conventional meds and conventional care, and it's just still not working. Or we're happy to set people free from the holistic health system, because that's kind of just another trap, if you will, where then you're just dependent upon this supplement instead of this med. It's really not much different. And so this is a radically different approach. And to get to that radically different results, you really have to see things and have a paradigm shift around a few core concepts. So we talk a lot about that in our past shows, but I just wanted to give an intro, and we can dive into today's topic when you're ready. Which is we're going to continue working on the map of consciousness and developing discernment. And so really the topic of today is learning how to pattern interrupt your nervous system and pattern interrupt those automatic survival responses that you're just living in all the time, every day, 24/7. And so if you can recognize what they are and you can pattern interrupt them, the nervous system starts to regulate and everything starts to change. So we're going to focus on fear and versus love, joy, peace. And that's an easy one that's just an easy fear or love, right? Fear or peace.
Well, and that's one that a lot of people deal with every day. Like it's, and they might not call it fear. They might call it anxiety. They might call it depression. They might call it stress over life or whatever, but really at the root of it, it's fear. So, in one way or another. So it's a good one to focus on. So bring it on. Yeah.
So we are, do you have the map of consciousness? You can pull that up here shortly.
Let's see if I do. If I still do.
But essentially, our nervous system is multifaceted. Okay. It's not just an on or off switch. It's a bit more complicated than that. So a guy named David Hawkins actually developed this map to show the multifaceted levels of where we are at in our nervous system at any point in time, right? So you see fear on the bottom half of the map at the number 100, which is anxiety, which you mentioned, right? And then we've got like love, joy, peace is very high on the map, 500, 540, 600. And that's really like, serenity, bliss. That's the absence of stress, right? Everything's perfect. It's all okay. It's okay. Yeah. Life is perfect. You know, I can learn through the challenges. It's like an optimistic view, you know, but, and then in the middle, right, we have neutrality, which is where we actually switch from sympathetic fight or flight mode in our nervous system into a more neutral state. And then, of course, we want to go beyond that. So for ease, I just wanted to show you guys this so you would know. And then when we really talk about fear, everything below the red line, pride and below, that's survival. That's sympathetic dominance. And the majority of the world lives here all the time. Like it is our default.
Yep.
And so we are working on first getting people within 3 to 5 months into that middle section, which usually we can get them up to about acceptance. So the nervous system is regulated most of the time, and they can just catch when they're not regulated and re-regulate. And then our goal, obviously, right, is to be in love, joy, peace. The fruits of the spirit, being authentic, living your values, feeling emotionally the way you say your values are. I was talking with a therapist today who she was sharing, like, she was acknowledging me because she said, you really embody like peace. And very few believers actually do. They know the words, right? They said, she was saying that anxiety is actually the opposite of faith. And she was acknowledging, she was like, you really actually embody the words you're saying. She's like, and that's genuine for you, isn't it? Like, this isn't a thing you're trying to, like, it's not an act. And I'm like, well, I feel the peace. She's like, I feel your peace. She's like, it's palpable and it's visible and you're actually glowing. Like I can see it in you. And so I'm like, yes, it's been a journey to get here, but also it is real, right? It's a palpable experience because these are actual frequencies, just like radio waves or sound frequencies. Like you can feel when you listen to music, you can feel the music, right? And different music has different feelings. Well, we can also feel each other, right? So it is a real thing. And when we can come from love, joy, peace, the fruits of the spirit, and not just know the words conceptually, I have faith, right? Oh, I know God has it taken care of. But we can actually know, I'm like in here, know to the depth of my core of my being, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that I actually experience the knowing. That is what we're talking about. So when I say, oh yeah, the top of the map, love, joy, peace, is kind of optimism, I don't mean the kind of optimism the world is used to, which by the way, is a very low vibration. It's basically fear that we try to make ourselves not feel. We slap optimism on top of fear. That's different than actually feeling a regulated nervous system and feeling peace and faith and trust and love and joy and all that. Okay, all that being said, you can take down the map when you're ready.
One thing I want to ask you about real quick before we take it down is there's the numbers down that. So there's love, peace, joy, reason, acceptance. And then there's the next column over is the numbers. And you touched on that at the last, like toward the end of the last episode. I just want you, can you just like, what do those numbers mean? I think I remember you saying something like if you're in like reason or love, then you go into a room and it's, I can't remember. Just
thank you.
Just real quick.
We talked about this. Thank you. Because it is important. It's so cool to understand. These can actually be measured with scientific equipment. And there have been studies about people in a room and what frequencies they are emitting. Right. And so there's even like things that have come out about those studies. Like most people think that love is the most powerful frequency or vibration that we emit. And that's not true. And I'm curious if you know what it is.
I mean, I could take a guess, but I certainly don't know what it is. If I had to guess, I would say the not just on the top, but maybe on the anywhere.
Yeah. What is what is the highest number?
The highest on the page.
Yeah.
I would say not love. Okay. Maybe joy.
You would think it's actually authenticity, which is kind of wild.
Where the heck is that?
It's actually not on the chart. It's
Okay.
I put it in the whole enlightenment. It's like 700 to 1,000. I know,
Oh,
I
okay.
tricked
Okay.
you, right? So, and I'll look up how much it counterbalances on the break, so I'm being accurate. But the cool
Sure.
thing is, people who are authentic and they are living their values actually have a higher vibrational electric output than people that are just like in love. So you think of what if you really embodied God's love all the time? Like, wow, that would be life transformative. And
Sure.
it's like, cool. Now, what if you were able to be the fullness of who you were created to be in all the facets that is, like totally yourself? That is beyond love, but it would also include love. So that's super cool. And then they have looked at, higher vibrations counterbalance lower vibrations. Lower vibrations are separate, and higher vibrations are connected, like unified. That's kind of interesting. They connect all together. So that means that if a lower vibrational frequency or a person at a lower vibration, right, was in a room with somebody of a higher vibration, it's basically impossible to remain at a lower vibration when you're with somebody emitting a higher frequency. The higher frequencies are healing. And the numbers are astounding, right? Like somebody at, like you're saying, love, I will look it up on the break and then we'll come back. Yeah. But it's like 90,000 individuals below 200 are counterbalanced at like 250, 350, 400. Wow. I mean, and some of the higher levels, it's millions. One person at that frequency of just from one person counterbalances millions of people that are operating in a lower state. Wow. So it's very, very powerful. Like the biggest thing that we could do to witness, to minister, to help heal the world, right? Which in Hebrew is tikkun olam, the repair of the universe. That is to do our own work so that we can first embody the frequency of love, or, love, joy, the fruits of the spirit, right? Yeah. So it's not just feelings that are fleeting. It's actually a presence of these fruits that have a real impact on things. And a quote came up today because, when we talk about like, you got to put yourself first, you need to put the oxygen mask on you first. Everyone knows that in an airplane, right? And the number one argument I get, especially from like believers, is that's selfish, or I should put God first. And I'm like, yes, of course, this isn't negating that. Of course you put God first, but how do you actually put God first? It's by tending to this vessel first. So I read a quote this week on this topic, and it said, be selfish enough to tend to your own vibration first, your own frequency first, because how can you be of service if you are in your own muck and mire, right? And scripture tells us that, like, get the log or the plank out of your own eye before you're trying to pick a little stick out of somebody else's eye. This is all pointing to that too. And even Jesus like stepped away and prayed and stepped away and meditated and tended to his own self-care, right? So it's like, if our bodies are a temple, we must tend to our temple first for the temple to even be of service to anyone else and to bear the fruit. If we're a tree, I know you've heard me say this before, but if we're a tree, we got to tend to the tree so it bears fruit that's actually edible. And so that's why we put ourselves first, is because we are tending to our capacity to be of service and to have fruits in our lives. Is that what you were referencing?
No, exactly. I think so. Yeah, I think it was more like when you go into a room and you're at a 600, then you affect this many people, I think is what I was going for. But you totally covered it. But yeah.
Sweet. I'll come back with the specifics after the break. They're not logged up here yet.
No worries. No worries. But it's true. Yeah, you can't be, it's almost like, nobody thinks Jesus was selfish for going off and doing that. So why is it selfish for anybody else? It's because you can't take, or I can't remember I'll think of this over the break too, but there was a phrase that popped up too. It's like, you can't take care of, or it's like, I don't know. I can't remember what it is, but it's along those lines. It's true though. You can't take care of somebody if you haven't taken care of yourself. Yes. So yeah, it's true. All right. So you'll find that over the break, and we will come right back, and we got a lot more to talk about. Everybody stick around. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon. I'd love to talk to you a little bit about our sponsor, Dunamis Marriages. And now struggling marriages often lead to a dramatic sense of disconnection from your spouse that can seem suffocating. Even if your marriage is doing pretty well, there is a way for you to thrive no matter what. Dunamis Marriages believes that God designed marriage to be a lifelong, heart-connected journey. And they're here to help you get there at Dunamis Marriages. Located in Colorado Springs, Colorado, their faith-based marriage intensive has an 83% success rate. I'm going to say that again, 83% success rate. Guiding couples through deep emotional healing and lasting transformation. Why is that important? Because most marriage counseling has a less than 10% success rate, leaving broken hearts and marriages in its wake. Led by Dr. Pauline Dillard, who brings over 42 years of marital wisdom, these marriage intensives are different. Typical marriage counseling is more of a once a week for an hour type of thing that can last for years and really end up getting you nowhere. The intensive model that Dr. Pauline uses brings couples together. Each session lasts about 2 to 3 hours and is conducted over 5 to 6 sessions. The time that you invest in a marriage intensive will combine biblical truth with proven psychological principles to restore communication, trust, and intimacy. At Dunamis Marriages, they don't just treat symptoms, they equip you with the tools to build a thriving, Christ-centered marriage. If you're ready to break free from frustration and rekindle your relationship God's way, act now. Visit DunamisMarriages.com today. That's DUNAMAS marriages.com. And take that first step toward a stronger, more fulfilling marriage. Build your marriage on a solid foundation and enjoy your spouse like you never thought possible.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Greg Russell. I'm the host of TechnologyTuesday.com. You can find us on the Conscious Business TV network every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the latest resources to help you make more money in your business. Join us on E360 TV. Come on.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are here, and we were checking on things during the break, and not sitting still. That's for sure.
That's true. And you're gonna love these numbers. Okay,
nice.
So what we're talking about on the map of consciousness, which you can bring up so people can see.
Yes.
So when people are operating at a level of willingness, which is 310. They counterbalance 90 million people at lower levels. 90 million people that are at lower levels on this map that are below 200. So when we are operating at peace, which is 600, okay, so that's almost second to the top.
Jeez.
We're counterbalancing 10 million individuals.
Wait, you said
90,000.
Oh, thank God. Okay, yeah. I was thinking,
10
wait a
million.
second.
I know, thank you. And then
Yeah.
when we are learning to be authentic, we counterbalance 70 million people who are in the survival paradigm. And when we are, let's just say, Jesus counterbalanced. If you live like Jesus, you can counterbalance 840 million people that are in survival mode. Plus, it's kind of cool because if you have 12 people that are being fully authentic and operating in the fruits of the Spirit, that also counterbalances. Like 12 of us together is like a Jesus. I'm sorry. Hopefully you can translate into your own language, whatever floats your boat. But these are the concepts, right? So it's astounding to me when I started learning and studying, these things, because we are so much more powerful than we realize. Like we truly, truly are. And it's not selfish to do self-care. It is, and it's beautiful because then self-care becomes ministry as well. When I do take care of myself and I am tending to me and my house, right, serving, that automatically ripples out in ways that I'm not even conscious of. So truly, how you wake up and your attitude and your feelings and your place of operating, without saying anything, without doing anything, it is making a difference. So this is the work. So what we want to talk about today is how do we begin to recognize and have discernment about where we're operating from?
Yes.
That really is the key. I mean, sometimes people are like, well, what do you do? And I'm like, there's a million ways to describe it, but this is one way. Basically, all I do and what my team does is help individuals become aware of when they're operating in fear or survival mode and when they're not. What does it mean to operate here? And what does it mean to operate here? And how do I recognize it? And how do I shift gears? How do I pattern interrupt? And when you pattern interrupt enough, a funny thing starts happening is your default mode changes. So if you pattern interrupt survival mode and fear enough, it'll naturally in your brain rewire and in your nervous system rewire where that's no longer the default. Every time we choose love, joy, peace, regulation, whatever we're calling it, okay? Whenever we choose the parasympathetic nervous system, we're strengthening those pathways and that becomes the default. So that's essentially all we're doing in the entire regard with everything that we teach and say. That's essentially all that it is. So giving that to you guys today, one simple way that we found helpful is to start paying attention to your thoughts, feelings, and words. Okay. So, and we've talked in previous classes about, how to ground and how to get present and how to, what is arising now? What am I feeling? How to tune in and not suppress and tune out your inner experience. And so there's some tools that you can look up, but essentially if you can start paying attention to the words that you say, the thoughts that you think and the feelings that you have, you can then start to observe them. And you can start to dialogue with them like they're voices that aren't necessarily your own. Okay. We think we're thinking, but we don't recognize, is that a trauma pattern though? Like it's an automatic response. It's not like I'm sitting here trying to think these thoughts. It's that they pop up. Right. And it's a trigger, right? And the same with our feelings. So our feelings, our thoughts, and our words are typically coming from an automatic place. And they reveal directly our subconscious way of viewing life. And so if you can listen to the words you're saying, the thoughts that you're thinking, and the feelings that you have, you can ask, where is this coming from? Is this the voice of fear or anger or pride or shame or guilt or whatever, right? The map of consciousness. Or is this the voice of reason and integrity? Or is this the voice of love, joy, peace, right? Am I neutral about this? That's a big one. I mean, it takes a lot of personal development just to get to neutral. And that means there's no negative feelings there at all.
Yes. Yeah.
So, okay, right? So if is there emotional charge, if there's an emotional charge, there's something being triggered on the map of consciousness from the survival spectrum. So if you can start investigating and get curious and start observing, maybe you journal it. There's a million ways to do this. You could journal all your thoughts and then kind of read back through them and circle everything from fear or everything from shame, or just observe what you notice about the themes. Mm-hmm. The noticing it is actually where the magic happens, because if you observe it and can identify it, you are no longer stuck in it. You have to be above it to see it. You have to be above it to witness and observe it. So just observing it actually helps you get to a more neutral place. That's why I'm suggesting the exercise. And from neutral, you can grow from there. You can be open to a more positive perspective, right?
Yeah. And this is something that not very many people, like, this is new stuff. Like, this is not a lot of people know, like, anybody that's been in therapy or been to a psychologist or something, there's remnants of what you're saying, like, sprinkled in there, but it's not the same. It's, everybody, just so you know, it's not the same thing. True. And so if you are, and by the way, just want to throw this out there, if you're wherever you're watching, if you have a question or you're like, light bulb just went off, I got to talk to somebody about it, drop a comment in Facebook, YouTube, whatever, or go to this QR code, and there's a very easy way to contact Michal, and she can meet with you and talk this through. So, but yeah, this is not general public knowledge here, for the most part, right? Like, what's the percentage of the population that, like, gets this again? It's like generally 8%. Speaking,
we're currently at around 8%.
There you go. So we got a little way to go. So,
yep. So, I had another thing pop up. Most people don't realize that their symptoms are also a communication from the body. Like, yes, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, are the words we speak, those are easier for us to understand because we're used to that language. We understand that language better. Our symptoms and our illnesses in our body is a foreign language to us. And so we're just like, I think my body's broken. But actually, every single illness is also tied to a real survival program that's running in the body. And so we don't jump into that. We usually, like, after people are through our foundational work, we then can start teaching them how to understand the language of the body better. But for now, it's easier to practice this by just tending to thoughts, emotions, the words we say. And my clients all the time, they're like, well, that's not what I meant, right? They try to fix their words that I point out. They're like, well, I was trying to say this. I say, I know what you are trying to say. But no word that comes out of our mouth is an accident. It all comes directly from somewhere within. Yep. And so there's no accident. So when you really start paying attention to the words that you speak, like, meticulously, you will gain so much insight into the survival patterns and the limiting beliefs and the false identities and your childhood traumas, and, like, all of that will start to become conscious. And the funny thing is that those are the things that are creating a perception of life. So people think that stress is their jobs, their families, money, the government, social media, politics, all the things, right? Yeah. That's not what stress is. Those are stressors. Stressors shake up our snow globe. Our stress is what's inside the snow globe. Our stress are the things I'm just describing to you. And so when we tend to the snow in the snow globe and we don't have snow in the snow globe anymore, the stressors of life can continue to happen, but I don't have the same response.
Yes. Because they will.
Yes.
Because they will. You don't get to push pause on life just to go, like, it's like Christians, when you come into a relationship with Jesus, it's not like you're kissing your problems goodbye and everything's going to be smooth sailing after that. You just have somebody to talk to about it more.
Yeah.
You know,
and
same thing here.
and
you know,
discernment and like the
Yeah.
gifts. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So yes, you can live in a regulated state. And by the way, most people that think they're doing personal development by the time they get to us have realized that they've just been trying to fix and control the outside things or even the inside things, which actually is from apathy. If you pull up the map of consciousness, it's that low on the map of consciousness where that is coming from.
Oh my goodness.
So a lot of people that are trying to fix their experiences or, address the outside stuff, like, oh, I'm going to do this budgeting program so that money no longer triggers me. The snow is still in the snow globe. And no matter the amount of control you try to create around your budget, it's not going to work. You first have to address the inner stuff to change the relationship with money. And then the structures with money will come, but they'll be sustainable. And you won't have the inner triggers, because no matter how much you try to control your relationship with money, for example, you still have the same triggers. So even when the outside dynamics with money change, like we work with clients that have abundance, they still have scarcity. They still have the same stress. It's never enough, right? But we have clients that do the inner work, and even though they're not where they'd like to be, they are at peace. And they're able to responsibly manage money. So it's very interesting, how much nothing you change in the outside world is going to change where you're at on the map. And trying to change the outside stuff or use tools like diet, supplements, therapies, chiropractors or whatever, or spiritual tools, oracle cards, people going to psychics, people doing the meditation practices, people doing, Tai Chi, or I'm trying to think of all the things, but there's tons of things out there. And they are like, oh, I do all this, right? It makes me feel better. They're actually very low on the map of consciousness. It's hard for them to see that. We trigger a lot of people, but the need for those tools, none of those tools are actually going to change where we are operating from. And the sad thing is that we develop attachments and entire identities around those outside things, around the money, around the relationship, around the tools. And then our clinging to those external things stops us from really getting what we want. So a lot of learning to recognize, is this coming from fear? Is this coming from truth, fear, love, fear, joy, whatever. That discernment is going to be key, because it's going to help us let go of the things that, even though we're using them as Band-Aid approaches and getting short-term results from them, us clinging to that is actually what is perpetuating us staying sick or staying unhappy or staying unhealthy or staying poor or whatever. We have to let those go to step into this unknown place of, okay, let me discover what it's really going to take for me to become a regulated, healthy human.
If the fact
Sorry for fire hosing you.
I know. The fact that you talked about money right there, you're striking a nerve with a lot of people right there, because I guarantee you there are so many things out there that are, I mean, that's a monster elephant in the room most of the time with most people. And it doesn't even matter, like you said, it doesn't matter if you have 1 comma in your bank account or 2. It doesn't really matter the amount of money you have. It's the attitude towards it that's the important thing. So and staying stuck where you are or moving past it or whatever. So it's a thing.
Yes. And how can you address physical illness if you are not addressing these ongoing relationships in your life? Like, you have to address your relationship to money, because that's triggering your deepest stress, right? And it's usually money, relationships, sex and intimacy, children. Those are
That sounds about right.
Yeah, those are top.
Those four. Yeah, you ran out of steam there, but I think those four. The reason you ran out of steam is I think those are the four.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
there
there's
might be
others,
another one,
but those are those are the ones we got to face them. So
those are the big ones. Yeah, whether you're married, whether you're single, whether you're no matter where you live in the country or in the world, those are the four. So yep. That's it. Awesome. Well, let's go to one more break and then we can finish up here. But oh man, yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I need a towel now. I feel like I got the fire hose got turned on again. So if you're feeling like that, you're not alone. And we'll tackle more of this on the other side of the break. Don't go too far.
Hi, I'm Jake, co-founder and CEO of One Hope. My friends and I started this company in 2007 out of the back of this truck on a mission to enrich people's lives through wine. Today, we've grown into a state-of-the-art Napa Valley winery that proudly houses a portfolio of award-winning wines which have touched lives through over 40,000 nonprofits at home and around the globe. And it's happening every day. Being rooted in local communities and contributing to initiatives that uplift neighborhoods, celebrate cultures, and promote community. It's what got us here. You see, through every bottle sold, your purchase can make a direct impact on the causes you care about. One Hope's cause of choice has given back over $10 million and counting.
Hey there. You know, every time someone comes into your business or website and uses their card to pay, a percentage of that gets folded back into the system. But it can go to Hydro with Hope instead. If you'd like your business to support us rather than feed back into the system, scan the QR code and we'll show you how to do that while saving your business money.
Hey everyone, Coach Greg here from Living Empowered TV, where we help women live empowered lives through amazing guests, life hacks, mental, physical, and emotional health. See us on the Achieve Network, 12 o'clock Wednesdays Pacific time on E360 TV. Don't miss out.
All right, we're back. And sorry, I'm still catching my breath from that last segment, but it's all right. If you are too, don't worry. It's not just you. It's me too. I tell you, I say this at the end of every episode. I learn something every single time, and this is no exception. So this is good. And if you're watching in any of these places, reach out and let us know. If you have a question, we are happy to connect you with Michal and get you on her calendar. And there's another way to do it. Scan the QR code and she'll spend like a decent amount of time with you. It's not like, here's my 15-minute consultation. Was 90 minutes, right? That's your.
Yep. And I felt to give an update today on that too, because we've updated some things, which makes it a lot more available to a lot more people. And yes, we will spend lots and lots of time with you to make sure we're clear and you're clear. And if we can help you, that we know what that looks like. And if not, that we refer you out appropriately. We have switched our company to a donation-based model. And what's so exciting about this is that, we're not having conversations anymore like, oh, do you take our insurance? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you can't get healthy because of, I know it's a little blurry, but your camera's going to.
I know. I was just going to, I'm here. I'll do this. Keep talking. You're good.
Okay, perfect. We'll just keep going. So, what's so exciting about this is we are not limited to insurance or finances. Anyone can come and work with my team and get the care and the help that they need. And as we know that it is our purpose and our mission and our passion and what we're meant to be doing. And we know as part of being in a regulated state that we will be taken care of always. And so it's really stepping into that as well and not having a business model that's built on survival mode, but having a business model that's really built in abundance and just living in alignment with our values and what we are called to be doing. So that's very exciting. So some of our processes have changed. We have about 6 different kind of stages or categories of modules or what we need to do. And so we are vetting people in the free consult for where are they at? Can their nervous system even rewire, right? And Jeff knows this because I said, no, yours can't right now. And Jeff had to go do a bunch of stuff for several months and then come back. And then, we were seeing what we needed to see so we could get started. So we have a process that prepares and primes the nervous system and gets that ready if people are not ready. We have the nervous system regulation process and becoming fully healthy. We have a period of integration, which is basically just how to apply everything we learned to our lives in real time. And if we're flaring up or we're getting triggered, we can work through those very quickly and efficiently. And we can also begin to see, oh, wow, I really have changed. I really am handling this differently and that differently. And I have these skills, and we're really starting to see, that we are healthy and we are responding a very different way in life. And then we have like advanced classes, which goes beyond just physical health. It's really about how to address all the other stressors of life, the finances and the parenting and the relationships and our attachment styles and money and all of those things, which is very important. And how to continue working up the map of consciousness and becoming more aware and integrating and doing our shadow work and, healing traumas and limiting beliefs and just going into that realm. But you can grow as a person and not be physically sick. And so that's why a lot of people come to us first just to get healthy in their physical bodies. And then they're like, well, hey, now that I'm physically healthy, I want to grow in my business or as an entrepreneur, as a husband, a wife, a parent, in these other areas. I now have room to focus on those. So we'll see where you are and what you're ready for, right? And discuss what that looks like. And it's all custom. We don't teach generic programs. We custom tailor everything that we're doing to each person because there's no other effective way to do it. You can go to the QR code. You can schedule a free consult. We will actually send you a lot of information right away and have you start kind of doing some homework for us before the first conversation. Then we'll get on with you and figure out where we need to get started and set that up or give you a referral or recommendation, whatever that looks like. And really we get you started right away wherever is a good fit. So that's exciting. And now we can say we're donation based. So it's literally, we can work with anybody, even if you have financial constraints. And it really is our greatest joy. It actually feels so good to be able to do it. Like my heart is just rejoicing. So nothing is in your way other than you, so if it calls to you, reach out, and there's never any pressure. And we'll just see what you need and help you get there.
I love that. And it's what's really cool. And I'm not trying to point anybody out here, but what the heck, I'm going to anyway. So my old, she won't care. My oldest daughter, Elizabeth, she saw me go through all of this. She's seen me. She's been on the show, by the way, if anybody wants to watch her be amazing on the show. She was in season 2, I think, with Catherine, with my wife. But she saw me go through this program, this whole process. It took like 8 or 10 months by the time we got through the first part with you. And then, nope, you're not ready. Go over here and then come back and then do the program. It took months. And so I was a little tougher nut to crack, apparently, or something. I don't know. But
you were about as stubborn as I was.
Yes. All right. There's hope for everybody. But she literally, she's like, Dad, what happened? Like, this is crazy. So she said, what did you do? And I said, talk to Michal. And so she actually went through, she's, I think, on the tail end of it right now. So she's working through it too. So it's powerful, guys. Your family will see it. Your friends will see it. It is a noticeable difference. We can talk about what my neurosurgeon said another episode. That was a whole nother noticing of things. So it's a big deal. So it's definitely, yeah. And now that it's donation based, there went your last excuse. So, So awesome. Well, we got about 3 or 4 minutes now, but I'm so glad you did that. That was important. We had to know that because that's fantastic. I love that. So what do we want to finish up with?
Well, I think I just want to encourage people. I know you have some amazing stuff going. It's like your the calls with the ICU, right?
Yep. Invisible Condition University. Yep.
There are so many support tools for people, and I'm like, use them. Like, please use them, because I think people are a little leery of new things, and I get it. And I was too. I literally knew about some of this kind of work for years and was stubborn enough to think I knew better and my way would work, and it didn't. And I had a humbling moment where I was like, okay, clearly I'm missing stuff, right? And do I want to keep doing what I'm doing? Because isn't that the definition of insanity, is continuing to do the same thing, expecting a different result?
Yep.
So
exactly.
I had a humbling moment where I was like, I need to shift, I need to change, I need to grow. And I am recklessly abandoned to the pursuit of truth, just so you know. And so I'm like, okay, what don't I know? I don't know. So you really have to come to a moment where, again, are you from fear going to choose to continue to do the same thing, expecting different results? Are you actually okay with the results you're getting? I tell most people, if it takes on average 3 to 5 months to become fully healthy, and you've been doing what you've been doing for longer than that, obviously you're missing something. And if you are stuck in sympathetic dominance, it means you have ongoing symptoms. People that are already regulated all the time, some people think they are. No, if you have ongoing symptoms, you are dysregulated all the time as a default state. So you got to, first of all, just own that. And then it's like, what am I going to do about it? And so from a position of making a healthy, loving choice to myself, am I going to push myself outside the comfort zone and put myself as a priority to research this, to investigate, to have some conversations? So like the ICU Invisible Condition University that Jeff puts on is a wealth of information and a connection to a lot of resources. And I just would highly encourage people to do the free month, right? They get a free month.
Yep.
So again,
exactly.
There's nothing to lose. And we create stress from our choices, by the way.
Yeah.
It's our choices. It's not what happened in the past. It's our choices. So is the choice that I am making producing more fear, insecurity, more illness, more whatever, or is it producing clarity, right? Peace of mind, clear direction. This is what we need to be thinking as we weigh not only our thoughts and our words and our actions and our feelings, but like our choices are so important. So anyway.
Totally. Exactly. And people are making choices all the time. They just don't know the impact of them. So that's the thing. So
you vote for your nervous system with every choice you make. So pushing snooze, right, actually creates a fight or flight response, sympathetic nervous system. So with your choices, I know, oh shit, I read your mouth. And we're on TV, I'm so sorry. Okay, but every choice you make, I think that's the third time in this series. Every choice you make, you guys, is a vote. So if you start weighing that, what are you voting for? Are you voting stress or are you voting peace?
Right. Okay. Exactly. It's true. Peace is better. Peace is better.
Way better. Yes.
All right. Hey, Thank you, Michal. Thank you so much. This is awesome. I know this kind of took a turn at the third segment there, but it was so important, and we're so glad that we got to learn about all that. So thank you so much. And everybody, seriously, join us. I think we're talking about maybe, let's see, the next time that we will have this type of show with me and a co-host will be July 1st, I think is the next air date for that. And if I'm not mistaken, you and I, before we started filming this episode here, talked about maybe one of the people that you work with being on that show. So if we can pull it off, you'll get to meet Bryce again, who was in one of the quarterly specials and was awesome. So he'll be joining us next time, maybe. And we'll go from there. So, but the next episode in general of the show is going to be our quarterly special, which is June 19th, which is a Thursday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. And the next regularly scheduled program will be June 20th. So join us for those. And yeah, thank you. Thank you, Michal. Thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you all on the next one. Here we go.